This episode is brought to you by Indie Film Hustle TV, the world's first streaming service dedicated to filmmakers, screenwriters, and content creators. Learn more at indiefilmhustle.tv. Now, you talk about championing filmmakers. Can you talk a little bit about what John Daly did for you as a champion? Because we all need a champion, especially in this business, if we can get one.
I dedicated the book to John. I mean, the book for me took 3 years to write off and on. It's just a lot of work. I have to tell you, it's like making a movie in its own way. And I take writing very seriously in the sense of I just not scribbling out, I did this, I did that. No, I'm looking for themes in the book. The themes of growing up, themes of going to war, the themes of relationships with your parents, your mom and your dad, your grandparents, the history of that time, what was going on, World War II into Vietnam. And I think there's a lot of consequences out of World War II. I was born at the end of it in 46. And my mother was a French citizen. My father met her on the street in Paris during the liberation and as an officer in the army, and married her and brought her back to the States in late 45, early 46. Pregnant. So there you go. I mean, I'm a war baby, you'd say, right? Mm-hmm. French. My mother was an immigrant in her way.
But John really
is also an immigrant. I mean, I've always done well with immigrants. For some reason, the American movie business was just not letting me get my stuff done. It was so frustrating. By the time I made The Hand, even with the success of Midnight Express, I was kind of a black sheep. People knew me as outrageous, somebody who broke barriers, who was trying to say things, do different things, was fighting for this Vietnam script that everybody said, hey, yeah, it's well written, but we don't want to make it. It's not going to make any money. So, I mean, I was kind of the guy who was one of those guys around that was known as difficult, or not that I was crazy, but I really was upset that things were not going. I wrote a script called Born the 4th of July and Platoon, in both in the 70s, right. And neither one could get made. It was just frustrating because here they were making Apocalypse, Coming Home, Deer Hunter, nice films, but nothing to do with my experience on the ground over there. They were both the mythic films. Coming Home, very realistic, but about a woman in a marriage in L.A. The other two were gigantic films, but they have nothing to do with reality that I saw. I could say that, Michael Cimino, I worked with him on Year of the Dragon, a big vision, Napoleonic vision, but reality, not so much. And so Francis, also The Godfather. Anyway.
But John was the one that kind of.
Well, it's just that I was I was kind of dead in the water. I wrote Scarface, and although it's acclaimed as at that time it had a hard road. I had fight with the producer, and he badmouthed me and around the business, and frankly, it was filled with obscenity and violence, and people thought I was crazy. I'd done Midnight Express, Scarface, Conan the Barbarian. These were tough, violent films, so people saw me as some kind of The Hand. Who is this guy? So it was tough, and I had to. I left L.A. and I talked about my cocaine addiction too. So that was a big problem at one point, but I gave that up.